There is a terrifying uncertainty in the world that most of us try to ignore. You feel it when you wake up in the middle of the night. You feel it when you lose your job or when a relationship suddenly falls apart. It's the feeling that life is overwhelming, unfair, and fundamentally broken. Most people spend their entire lives trying to numb that feeling. We distract ourselves with screens, with cheap pleasure, with excuses. But deep down, you know the truth. You know that avoiding the burden of your life is actually making it heavier. If you feel stuck, if you feel like you are drifting into a void of nihilism where nothing matters, this is your wake-up call. Today, we are breaking down a book that doesn't just tell you to be happy. It tells you to be strong. It tells you that you are capable of terrifying evil, but also capable of heroic good. This is 12 Rules for Life. And if you think this is just another self-help listicle, you are dead wrong. This is an antidote to chaos. Let's get real for a second. Why is modern life so difficult? Jordan Peterson argues that for most of human history, religion and tradition gave us a map. They told us how to act, what to value, and who to be. But as our world has become more secular, that structure has collapsed. We killed the old values, but we didn't replace them with anything solid. So, what's left? A vacuum. A massive, empty hole in our culture that gets filled with moral relativism. The idea that nothing is really right or wrong, it's all just opinion. This sounds freeing, right? Wrong. It's a disaster. Because without a code of conduct, without a North Star, you fall into nihilism. You start thinking, if nothing matters, why bother trying? Or worse, you latch onto extreme ideologies just to feel like you belong to something. Peterson's argument is radical because it is so simple. Life is suffering. That is the baseline. But the answer to suffering isn't to complain or to blame the universe. The answer is to voluntarily pick up the heaviest burden you can carry. If you don't take responsibility for your life, you will become bitter. And a bitter person is a dangerous person. But here is the wild part. This isn't just philosophy. This is biology. Peterson isn't just saying stand up straight because it looks nice. He's saying it because your brain is running software that is 350 million years old. You are wired to scan for order and chaos. And if you don't understand the rules of the game you are playing, you are going to lose. So, let's decode the game. We are going to walk through the 12 rules, not as abstract ideas, but as tactical weapons you can use to fight the chaos in your own life. Chapter 1. The Lobster Principle. You might think you're a sophisticated human being, but a huge part of your brain is almost identical to a crustacean. And that part of your brain is deciding, right now, whether you are a winner or a loser. Rule number 1 is famous for a reason. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. But this isn't about posture. It's about hierarchy. Peterson explains that all animals, including us, organize themselves into dominance hierarchies. Your brain is constantly monitoring your status. Here is the science. Inside your brain, there is a primordial calculator monitoring how people treat you. If people respect you, your brain releases serotonin. This makes you feel confident, calm, and ready to handle stress. But if you get bullied, or if you fail, or if you slouch in defeat, your serotonin drops. You become anxious. You become reactive. You go into survival mode. And here is the trap. When you look defeated, people treat you like you are defeated, which lowers your serotonin even more. It is a feedback loop from hell. Think of two lobsters fighting for territory. The winner struts around, open and big. The loser curls up, shrinks down, and literally dissolves its own brain to become weaker. Now look at your office. Look at the guy who walks in apologizing for his own existence, eyes on the floor. He is signaling to everyone, and to himself, that he is low status, and the world obliges by pushing him down. The uncomfortable truth is that you might be signaling your own defeat before you even open your mouth. If you act like a victim, you are chemically programming your brain to be a victim. You have to hack the loop. Do this. Physically take up space, pull your shoulders back, expose your neck and chest, which is a sign of vulnerability and confidence. Speak your mind. When you act like you have value, people will treat you like you have value, and then you will actually start to feel it. But fixing your body is the easy part. The real problem is how you treat the person living inside that body, because chances are you treat your dog better than you treat yourself. Chapter 2. The Self-Loathing Trap. Why is it that when a doctor prescribes medication for a dog, you give it perfectly, but when he prescribes it for you, you skip doses or forget? Rule 2. Take care of yourself like you are someone you are responsible for helping. We have a nasty habit of self-sabotage. We procrastinate, we eat junk, we don't sleep. Peterson argues, this isn't laziness, it's self-hatred. You know yourself better than anyone else does. You know your dark thoughts. You know your lazy habits. You know the lies you tell. Because you know your own flaws so intimately, you don't believe you deserve to be taken care of. You punish yourself for being imperfect. But you look at your pet or your child, and they seem innocent, so they deserve care. You view yourself as fallen, so you let yourself rot. Imagine you were hired to be a caretaker for a stranger. You would make sure they ate healthy, got to their appointments, and stayed clean. If you didn't, you'd be fired. Yet, you are the caretaker of your own life, and you are doing a terrible job. You are essentially an abusive boss to yourself. You are not your own possession. You don't have the right to torture yourself. Your life is interwoven with other people. When you destroy yourself, you hurt everyone around you. It is selfish to suffer silently. Stop waiting for self-love. It might not come. Instead, use duty. Ask yourself, what would my life look like if I were caring for myself properly? Then, do it. Not because you feel like it, but because you have a mission in this world. But even if you start treating yourself right, it won't matter if the people around you are trying to drag you back into the mud. Chapter 3. The Vampire Friends. We have all heard you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. But Peterson goes darker. He asks, why do you keep friends who you know are bad for you? Rule 3. Surround yourself with people who want you to succeed. Many of us keep charity case friends. We hang out with people who are cynical, lazy, or destructive. We tell ourselves we are trying to save them. Peterson calls this a lie. Often we hang out with losers because it makes us feel superior. If your friend is a mess, you feel like the stable one by comparison. Or you are bonding over a shared contract of failure. If you both agree that the world sucks and trying is pointless, neither of you has to do the hard work of improving. Real friends are actually terrifying. Why? Because a friend who has high standards will judge you when you are acting like an idiot. That pressure is painful, but it is necessary. Think about a team. If you bring a low performer onto a high-performing team, the team doesn't pull the low performer up. The low performer drags the team down. It is gravity. It is easier to fall than to climb. You need to fire some of your friends. If you have a friend who gets jealous when you succeed, or who offers you a cigarette when you are trying to quit, that is not a friend. That is an anchor, and you are drowning. Audit your circle. Ask, does this person genuinely want the best for me, or do they want me to stay broken so they feel comfortable? It is not selfish to leave people who refuse to help themselves. Once you clear out the toxic people, you are left with the loudest critic of all, the voice inside your own head. Chapter 4. The Envy Game. It has never been easier to feel like a failure. You open your phone and see a 19-year-old millionaire, a fitness model, and a prodigy, all in 5 seconds. Rule 4. Judge yourself by your own goals, not by others. Comparing yourself to others today is a losing game. The sample size is too big. There will always be someone better than you. When you are jealous of someone, you are usually cherry-picking. You see their car, but you don't see their bad marriage. You see their promotion, but not their stress. You are comparing your behind-the-scenes footage with their highlight reel. Furthermore, your eyes literally filter the world based on your goals. If your goal is get rich, you will only see money and you will feel poor. If you change your aim, you change your perception. You are aiming at the wrong target. You are obsessed with what other people have, which breeds resentment. And resentment is the gateway drug to doing evil. Stop looking across. Look back. The habit. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not who someone else is today. Can you be 1% more disciplined than you were yesterday? That is the only game you can win. If you are still listening, this is where most people check out, because the first few rules are about you. But now, Peterson shifts gears. He demands that you take responsibility, not just for your mind, but for the future of society. This next part is controversial. It's about parenting. And in a world that tells us to let kids express themselves without limits, Peterson says, no, that is dangerous. Chapter 5. Raising Monsters. We like to think children are innocent angels. They aren't. They are little chaotic learning machines who will hit, bite, and scream to test where the walls are. Rule 5. As a parent, train your children to follow the rules of society. Specifically, do not let your children do anything that makes you dislike them. Because if you, their own parent, dislike them, imagine how the rest of the world will treat them. If you don't discipline your kids because you want to be their friend, you are betraying them. You are sending them out into a world that will punish them mercilessly. A bratty child will be rejected by peers, scolded by teachers, and isolated. That rejection creates a damaged, resentful adult. Your job is to be a proxy for society. You must teach them the rules now, with love, so the world doesn't teach them later with cruelty. If you see a child screaming in a restaurant and the parents do nothing, you don't think, what a free spirit. You think, what a monster. Don't turn your kid into that monster. Set clear rules, not too many, but clear ones. Enforce them immediately. Don't protect your kids from the reality that actions have consequences. Chapter 6 and 7. Responsibility and Meaning. This is the core of Peterson's philosophy. When things go wrong, and they will, who do you blame? The government? Your boss? God? Rule 6. Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. And Rule 7. Do what is meaningful, not what is expedient. It is easy to blame the system. It is easy to be an activist. It is hard to clean your own room. Peterson argues that you cannot fix the world if you are personally corrupt. If you lie, cheat, and resent your neighbors, your attempt to change the world will only create more chaos. You must pursue meaning. Meaning is what happens when you sacrifice the present for the future. It is the opposite of expedience, which is doing what feels good right now. Think of the Columbine killers. They believed the world was corrupt and unfair, so they decided to destroy it. That is the ultimate endpoint of blaming the world for your pain. Now compare that to Alexander Solzhenitsyn. He was thrown into a Soviet gulag. He had every right to hate the world. Instead, he looked inward. He asked, "How did I contribute to this?" He took responsibility for his own life, even in a cage, and he wrote a book that helped bring down the Soviet Union. Life is suffering. That is the baseline. You can't avoid pain, but you can choose your burden. If you choose pleasure and shortcuts, expedience, you get suffering plus meaninglessness. If you choose responsibility, meaning, you get suffering plus a purpose that makes it bearable. Stop complaining. Ask, are you doing anything you know is wrong? Stop it today. Fix the things in your life that are within your reach. Start small. If your ego is flaring up right now, asking, why should I have to work so hard when life is unfair? Listen closely, because the alternative is hell. Not a religious hell, a psychological hell, a place of resentment, bitterness, and self-deceit. That is where you end up when you refuse to grow up. Chapter 8. The Lies We Tell. Nietzsche said, a man's worth is determined by how much truth he can tolerate. Most of us can't tolerate much. Rule 8. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie. We lie to get out of trouble. We lie to look cool. But mostly, we lie to ourselves. Every time you lie, you distort your reality. You disconnect yourself from the ground. If you lie to avoid a conflict with your spouse, the conflict doesn't disappear. It goes into the shadow. It grows in the dark until it explodes. Lying makes you weak. It corrupts your character. And when a crisis hits, you won't have the strength to weather it because you are built on a foundation of sand. A lie spoils all the truth it touches, like a drop of sewage in a lake of champagne. You think your white lies are harmless. They aren't. They are training you to be a fake person. Pay attention to your internal voice. If you say something and you feel a little weak inside, stop. That was a lie. Try to go one day without saying a single thing that you don't believe to be true. Chapter 9 and 10. Chaos in Speech. Have you ever had an argument with your partner where you start fighting about the dishes and 10 minutes later you are fighting about your entire relationship? That happens because you weren't precise. Rule 9. Listen to other people thoughtfully. Rule 10. Define your problem specifically. Anxiety loves the unknown. If you feel bad, that is a monster in the fog. It could be anything. It is terrifying. But if you use precise speech to say, I am unhappy because I hate my commute, you have turned the monster into a specific problem. You can fix a problem. You can't fix a fog. And when you listen to others, assume they know something you don't. Real listening isn't waiting for your turn to talk. It's risking the possibility that you might be wrong. The summary method. In an argument, before you reply, you must summarize what the other person said to their satisfaction. So, what you're saying is X. Is that right? This stops the straw man attacks and forces you to actually understand. Chapter 11 and 12. Resilience and Joy. We live in a safety-obsessed culture. We want to ban dangerous playgrounds and protect everyone from hurt feelings. Peterson says this is crippling us. Rule 11. Accept that inequality exists and leave kids alone when they are skateboarding. Rule 12. Take time to indulge in little bits of happiness. Boys, in particular, need danger to learn competence. They need to test their limits. If you prevent them from taking risks, you don't make them safe, you make them weak. And a weak man is not a virtuous man. He is just a man who can't do anything. Inequality is real. Hierarchies are real. You can't legislate them away. You have to learn to climb them competently. But the climb is hard. Peterson shares the story of his daughter, Michaela, who suffered from severe arthritis as a child. Constant pain. Dozens of surgeries. It was a tragedy. How do you survive that without hating God? You look for the cat. You look for the small, fleeting moments of light in the darkness. A good cup of coffee, a sunset, a cat on the street. You don't deny the suffering. You acknowledge it, and then you gratefully accept the small breaks when they come. You will break. People you love will die. You will get sick. If you wait for life to be perfect to be happy, you will die miserable. You have to find the light inside the darkness. Final action. Plan the hero's journey. So, where does this leave us? This book is a call to arms. It is a rejection of the idea that you are a victim. You are a creature with the capacity for malevolence, but also the capacity to create order out of chaos. Here is your action plan. Start these 7 habits today. Posture. Check. Whenever you walk through a doorway, roll your shoulders back. Signal to your brain that you are ready for the world. The self-care contract. Do one thing today you would do for a sick child. Eat a real meal. Go to sleep on time. The friend audit. Identify one person who drains your energy. Distance yourself. It's not cruel, it's survival. Write down what you did yesterday. Do 1% better today. That's it. Tell the truth. Stop the small lies. Stop saying yes when you mean no. Be precise. If something is bothering you, write it down exactly. I am angry because X. Define the monster. Find the cat. When you are overwhelmed, stop. Find one small good thing in front of you. Appreciate it. Then keep going. Life is suffering, but you are strong enough to bear it. Stop slouching. Stop lying. Pick up your cross and walk up the hill. That is where meaning is found. If this summary hit a nerve, good. That means you're ready to grow. This has been a breakdown of 12 rules for life. If you want to turn your commute into a university and your downtime into growth, make sure you subscribe to Audiobook Arcadia. We break down the most powerful books in the world so you can build a better life, one chapter at a time. Stand up straight. We'll see you in the next one.